It's Julia Renee.
And Kendall Aaliyah. Welcome back to the Know Your Power podcast.
What's up, guys? We're back.
What's up?
Together.
This still feels so odd without headphones, I will say.
It does, because it feels like we're not really talking.
Yeah. Are we recording?
Yeah.
Okay.
I
Just
think
making
so.
sure.
We're still getting the hang of it, guys. But
we also didn't film together last week, so it feels...
I know.
I feel like I haven't seen you.
It feels like it's been 2 weeks. Has it?
It hasn't.
We did like one, and then we came, and then we went back. Because last week was peak week, and oh my God, it was awful. It was awful, but it was good at the same time. Like, it was both.
I want to hear about it and how it compared to like your other peak weeks you've done.
So I think what made it, and I was talking about this on my solo episode, what made it so difficult for the first like 3 days of peak week. So it was like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then like Thursday on, it was relatively easy, and you know, it was
that's usually
chill.
Like more carbs,
yes,
not really moving,
not really doing cardio and stuff. But what made it hard was that I noticed about myself is that whenever I have like a higher calorie day, the next day when I have to go back to like the lower calories, it's the worst.
Yeah.
Like I'm like super irritable, and I'm like doubly hungry. Like I'm more hungry that day than I would if I would have just ate that meal plan, the low calorie meal plan.
It's like
the whole week.
You're teasing your body and being like, hey, this is what food would feel like.
This is what your life could look like. And then it's like, just kidding. We're going to take it away. So that's kind of what happened, because he bumped up calories like leading up until peak week. So it was like Thursday, Friday, Saturday, then Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday went all back to the low.
Yeah.
And it was so bad. If I wasn't doing work with clients, like if I didn't have to be on a call, if I didn't have a posing session, I was sleeping.
Yeah.
I was on the couch, and it was literally just eat, go back and lay down, because I was that like tired and fatigued, but the rest of the week was fine.
I'm surprised. Like usually I feel like all peak weeks I've done, and of course I know this is a luxury and a lot of people, you have to work up to show day. I try to cancel everything.
Yeah.
I'm like, this week is me exactly being a vegetable on the couch, eating when I need to, sleeping when I don't.
Yes. And I kind of did that. Like I blocked off like Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday for like the travel and the show and stuff like that. But I was working like normal on Monday and Tuesday, and it was really hard.
Yeah.
It was, I was like, okay, maybe I should just do the whole week, because I wanted all my focus to go to that.
Yeah.
But
well, I was with you the week before peak week when you kind of found out that, in a few days, like literally tomorrow, I'm starting peak week. And I was like, do you want to cancel the podcast, take a week off?
I was
and you were
I'm
like,
fine.
No.
I'll be fine.
I was like, this girl's crazy.
And you're like, yeah, we'll see. Yeah. But regardless, like the peak went exactly as planned. Like I did a little FaceTime with Coach after prejudging, and we'll kind of go into show day a little bit for you guys and like how it went and stuff. But I FaceTime him after prejudging, and he was like, I can tell that your body is in a really good and healthy spot, because everything that I did, it reacted the way that I intended it to do.
Yeah.
Intended it to.
I got what you meant.
Which is awesome. And I was like, okay, cool.
Was this your first peak week with him?
It was my second.
Okay.
Yeah. And it was completely different than Puerto Rico Pro, because with Puerto Rico Pro, that was in 2022. That whole year was just rough in general, because like Zach and I ended up breaking off our engagement my peak week, and nobody really knew about that. He was my coach for half of the prep, and then I found my coach Johnny with only, I think, maybe 8 weeks left in my prep. So it was like he managed to get my physique to a point where I couldn't believe that he did that in 8 weeks, and I was still like relatively healthy, you know? So this was my first full prep with him where I was actually able to do everything from start to finish. So, and I ended up being the best I've ever looked.
Yeah.
So
I feel like we need him on the pod again. I know you had interviewed him. I wasn't there for that, but I got to edit it, so I heard everything about him. But I keep seeing comments like all over your page, of course, like being like, Where's your coach?
I know.
Get your coach on. So that's awesome though that you guys like built that relationship.
Oh yeah, it was great. He was so proud. He always texts me like, "Let's fucking go." Awesome. And he says that LFG with like 5 G's.
You guys have similar personalities, I think.
Yes.
Again, haven't met him in person.
Yeah, he's very like he's like very bro-y, but he's very sweet at the same time. Like that's what I love about him is that he genuinely cares about my overall health, and he's not the type of coach that's going to tell me to push when pushing would actually have the reverse effect.
Good.
So
we love a coach like that.
Yeah, which it's like sometimes you think if I just do more, like it's going to be better, but it's not.
Yeah.
So everything went like according to plan. I would say the only thing that really didn't go according to plan was my makeup. So which I knew was going to happen, and I should have just like listened to my intuition.
I thought you were going to do your own.
Yes, I always do my own hair and makeup because I like it a certain way, and you know, all of those things.
And you're good at it.
I was just feeling like so tired and like really didn't want to do much that I was like, okay, it might be nice to just sit and have someone else do it. I won't have to wake up as early. You know, I can just go and they'll do it quicker than I can do it. I had to fix it. There was aspects of it that I really did like. She didn't do like a terrible job or anything like that. I
think you looked gorgeous.
It was just, you know, when you do your makeup a certain way and you have your eyebrows a certain shape, your wing a certain shape, and someone does it like a completely different shape, like it changes your face.
For sure.
So, I didn't feel like myself.
From my perspective, I couldn't make prejudging. I had like a prior commitment that morning, which made me sad, but it's okay. It all worked out. I drove in between your prejudging and your finals is when I got to your Airbnb. I come in, Julia has completely wiped off her eyebrows and her eye makeup.
So just imagine, imagine you have a full beat on.
A really darkly tanned full beat.
Really dark. So when I got micellar water, and I just took off my eyebrows and I got put micellar water on a Q-tip and just took off the wing.
Yeah.
So I was like patchy. It was like white, brown, white, brown. And I was like, hi, I'm fixing my face. And I managed to fix it. And I felt a little bit more like myself, but next time I'm definitely going to just do it myself.
Mine as well. Yeah. I want to hear about the rest of show day. So since I wasn't there, kind of take me through like the night before, because I know those feelings are always so intense, and then like morning of, since I missed it.
The night before, the tan and athlete check-ins were relatively late. And
I saw that the pros were later than
we were later in the day. Like my first coat of tan was at 7 p.m. The athlete check-ins were for IFBB pros from 7:30 to like 9:30 or something, or 7:30 to 8:30. We were in this tiny room, and the only pros that were competing, because at certain pro shows they have certain divisions, it was classic physique for men's and it was wellness. So that's the only people that were in the room. When I walked in, the whole room was packed, and I was like, this is weird. And I'm sitting next to all my competitors. Yeah. And I'm just like, oh, wow. Like there's a lot of them. Yeah. So this was really like my first time. Like I was still so new. Like I didn't know how any of this worked. I kept being like, Zach, like, what do I do next?
Because being a pro is so different.
It's just different.
Yeah.
Like everything is different. And they would call your name and you would go up there and you would shake all of the judges' hand. They would give you your number, do like a photo, stuff like that. And it was just so weird. And I remember being in there and I was like, I feel like such a noob. I was like, I have no idea what's going on. And I feel like
that's kind of fun though.
All of these people know what they're doing. And I was just like, someone tell me what to do.
Yeah. It's exciting, like being new to something though. Yeah. Like it's funny because like you're clearly not new. You made it to pro level for a reason.
But you're back at the bottom. Yeah. It's like when you're a senior in high school and you're like, I'm on top of the world. And then you go to college and now you're a dumb little freshman again. Exactly. So that's what I felt. I feel like I was a dumb little freshman.
Did you know beforehand how many girls were going to be in your division?
I had no idea. Well, I roughly did because people kept tagging me in the posts with all the things.
Love that.
Before I compete, I don't do this regardless during my prep, but I don't look at what anyone else is doing.
Yeah, as you should.
I don't look at and I've done this even when I was in wrestling. Like when I was in wrestling, I would never look at who I was competing next to, even when I would go and look at like the bracket to see what mat I needed to be on and the name of the person.
Yeah.
I would focus like my eyes only on my name, see what mat that I went to, and I would just show up and compete.
We're so different. I'm so nosy.
Yeah.
Like I would always look at, in diving and gymnastics especially, I would look at the roster like a week in advance.
Yeah, no.
Bodybuilding, I've made that mistake. I will never do that again, because then you do start comparing yourself, and that's not healthy.
Yeah, and I've always done that, and it just like really works for me, because then I just show up and it doesn't matter. You know, there was Olympians on the stage with me, like people that have already been to the Olympia, you know, and I didn't know any of that. So I was just like going in, like still my most confident self. I didn't have anything to throw me off, and it was great.
Which is good. Yeah. That seems like a really healthy mentality going into a show too.
Yeah. Cause it doesn't matter like really if any of the people are Olympians or like how many shows they won, cause you never know who's going to show up and who they're going to pick.
Yeah. Also, your history doesn't equal how you're going to compete that show either, for sure.
Doesn't. So yeah, you never know. It could be your day. But I went to bed relatively early, like right after I just ate and then went to bed. And Ian and I woke up at 4:30 because we wanted to shoot some footage of like pre-show morning and stuff like that. So we spent like an hour like getting the shots and stuff like that. And then it was just time for me to... I curled my hair so that it would be ready to go. Got my tan, it all happened so fast.
It always goes by so fast, especially if you're waking up that early. It's like you're kind of in a haze and stuff.
Yeah, it was like that period of time was the only time where it was like, felt like time was standing still and slow. And then after that, it was like bam, bam, bam. And as soon as I got my makeup done, I went into the bathroom and Ian like knew I was like, I'm going to go fix it. And I was panicking. I was panicking because it was 10 minutes away from prejudging starting, and the men were going to go on first, but there was only 2 divisions. It was like men's classic physique and then wellness was right after. So I'm panicking, trying to fix it. Cause I was like, I will not feel confident if I don't look like myself on stage.
I get it.
And then I walked out of there and like Ian and I are rushing there. I rushed backstage. They haven't even started yet. It's like, it's already like 9:10 at that point, and they haven't started. They started like an hour late. So I was like, dope. I went to the bathroom, continued fixing my makeup, checking photos to coach. I was able to go backstage and like chill. And I was like, okay, honestly, thank you for starting late because I needed to fix my face.
The universe knew.
Yes. It was great. Yeah. I mean, and still, even though going backstage, it was still really, really quick. Like, because the men, there was only a few and we got started. You can tell like everyone for prejudging was very like tense. Like the energy backstage was a little tense. Like people's faces were so serious and everything. And there was 30 of us. Like it was a huge show. Yeah. And I think it's because it was the last show to qualify for the 2024 Olympia. Yeah. So everyone was trying to get in at once. But
makes sense.
Yeah. And then prejudging happened. I remember just like being backstage and thinking, oh my God, there's like 30 of the most badass wellness pros back here. There's no way I'm making first call outs. I was like, because you don't really realize what you look like until you actually see yourself. Like the entire time that I was doing my routine, I was like, oh, I messed that up. Oh, nope, that looked bad. Oh, nope. And then when I watched the footage
we were like, whoa.
I was like, oh, it didn't look that bad. You know, you think that you like look worse, or I even thought like, I was like, oh my God, like I'm so much smaller. I felt like I was so much smaller than all of them.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, my muscles crazy. Gone. And then I went on stage and I was like, oh my God, I have the biggest front pose out of everybody. Like, it's just crazy how you do that.
I'm laughing because I totally get it. And you also have to consider, for those of you who have never competed before, usually like if you're posing or you're like seeing yourself, you're in a mirror or you have a camera on you, so you're able to watch it back immediately. When you're on stage, you are blind. First off, like super bright lights. I always black out. I have never remembered what I've done on stage.
Every time I get off, I was like, what happened?
No, literally. I'm like,
Someone tell me.
Like I could have hit one pose and I would believe you. I have no clue what I just did. So you have to consider like you really don't know. And then if you're being like moved around in a call out,
you get
so lost.
They moved me around
like 4 times.
More than that.
Okay.
I mean, honestly, it was kind of nice because when you move, you get a little break from holding your pose. Yeah. And they kept moving me around. They were comparing me to the number 1 spot, because whoever's in the center is usually number 1.
Yeah.
Whoever's to the right of her, if you're standing and looking at the stage, is number 2. And it kind of goes boom, 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 back and forth,
as though
like left and right.
How they do the lineup for like awards.
Exactly.
Almost. Yeah.
Yeah. So like we all went up and did like our comparisons, and they called my name or my number. And I was like, oh my God, I got first call outs. It's like, holy shit. I was like, last time I did not even get first call outs. I was like,
so
at the
exciting.
end of second call outs, I was like, okay. And then they were comparing me to the first, they were comparing me to second, and they moved me all around. And at the end, I was like, I'm so dizzy. I don't even know where I was.
Exactly. I want you to know my perspective is my prior obligation that morning was a photo shoot for a posing seminar. I'm in there refreshing. I was like, I need to see how Julia's doing.
They were late.
Yeah.
So everyone was like, I mean, afterwards they were like, we're waiting. Where is it? And I was like, oh, let me post a story and say that they're running late.
Yeah. I didn't get any of the live stream, but like as soon as your story refreshed of like you got first call outs, I was like, yes. And I told everyone I was with, and they were like, yes. And we were all rooting for you.
There was a lot of people watching. People in the live.
They took
I heard
over.
they were causing a ruckus.
As they do.
Which
as you
is
should.
Awesome.
You guys are the best.
It was so cool. I'm glad that everyone got to see it. It was crazy because I was like, I don't even know what happened. Like I walked off stage and was just, all right, now like it's time for your routine. Went on for my routine. And was like, oh my God, that absolutely sucked. And then I watched it back. They sent me the footage and I was like, I actually look kind of good. I was like, oh my God.
Yeah, you think?
I look kind of good. And that's the thing. I was like telling, the girls backstage, because I got to meet 3 girls that actually follow my YouTube channel or were watching.
Awesome.
I got to stand on stage next to them.
That's awesome.
Who watching my YouTube channel, like Prep Diaries, which is super cool. And I think this was the first show that I ever had been to backstage where it actually felt like a sisterhood. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I mean, I haven't been backstage where anyone was like mean or like catty or anything.
People usually stay to themselves.
It's usually just like, which I get, you need to have your own little focus time, and it's very like personal and serious. And this time I was just like, okay, I'm going to make a point not to have it be that way. So I got to talk to and meet some incredible girls. I got to really get to know second place, which was Brooke, and fourth place.
Yeah.
Fourth place, which was Mia, or I think it was either Mia or Maya, but they were so sweet.
That's awesome.
And we were like high-fiving each other, all, like our little top 5, group, and all of the girls, even like second call outs, all of us. And it was just different than what you would expect would be behind stage of like a pro show.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is nice.
Yeah. It's
Finally
nice to hear
different.
that, people aren't like catty or rude or anything. The only time I experienced like the sisterhood aspect, I will like praise the WBFF for like creating that. All of the girls, like they had couches backstage and we just sit and talk the whole time.
That's awesome.
But it like creates such a chill environment where it kind of gets rid of some of those nerves because you're getting to know the people you're about to stand next to. It's not this like built up rivalry or whatever.
I think it does make it easier to compete when you're actually chill with the competitors around you and you talk to them. So I like kept making a point, not only just like to make other people comfortable, but for myself to like just talk a little bit or something. Or
I always crack jokes.
If I was nervous, I was just like, I felt like I was so shaky. I was like, was anyone else shaky on stage? Like I was really shaky on stage, because all of them are feeling the same thing.
It breaks the ice.
You're all there nervous, kind of scared, and then it just got even easier. So I'm really glad that I got to experience that. And then when I went home from prejudging, it was like a couple hours because it was 6 p.m. final started, but then again it was going to be quick because it was just 7 men and then the rest of the wellness girls. And they moved me around a little bit again for finals. So I was like, there's a chance that maybe I can move up in my placing. I thought maybe I would move to 4th or to 5th. But whenever I left prejudging, I needed to adjust my back pose and I needed to fix my tan from the back because apparently on stage, my tan from the front was great. but from the back, it was like a little bit lighter. So I was like, okay, I need to make sure to go earlier so I can fix my tan. And then Zach was telling me, he's like, I think in your back pose, your feet were too wide and your knees were slightly too bent. And then so he showed me the lineup of the girls in the back pose. He's like, you see how your feet are a little bit wider? Yeah. And he's like, I think it's washing your glutes out. Zach was also my bodybuilding coach before then. So it's kind of nice where he had all this footage afterwards and he's like, okay. He's like, so this is where you were and this is where you...
That's so cute.
It was so cute. And
I sat next to him during finals as well. And we kept making little comments here and there.
Yeah.
We were like, oh yeah, that's okay. Yep. And then turn. Okay. Yeah.
It was so funny. I even watched when I watched back the footage of him recording my posing routine from his phone, the first prejudging, I can hear him and Ian talking about how good my posing was.
That's awesome.
Oh, she looks at, and I was like, oh, that's so sweet. I love that I have that to like look back on.
Your posing truly was my favorite. Ooh. And I kept saying like the whole day, and to anyone I talked to, I was like, I know I'm biased, but unbiasedly, she looks amazing.
I know I'm biased, but unbiasedly.
But I think either way, I would be obsessed.
And it's kind of crazy too, because I posted this on my story, but as I was coming home, I could go into this a little bit. I'll go into this in a little bit later, but people either hated my routine or loved it. It was like a whole thing.
I loved it.
It was crazy.
I've also seen it like 20 times leading into the show though.
True.
So
it's like engraved in my brain.
Yeah. I've recorded it enough times where I'm like, I could do the posing routine.
You're like,
now.
I think I know it.
I'm like, step out, swoosh.
Swoosh, arm. But yeah, so when I went back from prejudging, Zach also told me, he's like, the only thing that I would say, because I've always like want Zach's feedback. Yeah. Because especially since he knows what they're looking for and he knows my body and I trust him. And I was like, is there anything I should adjust? And he's like, with your posing routine, I would just at the end make sure that you show some sort of gratitude to the judges. He's like, you just kind of signed off, looked away and walked. And I was like, you're right.
I noticed that at finals and you were the only one. And I was like, that is so smart, because like truly those judges are sitting there all day and like they are... It's really just you and them. That's all that really matters.
Yeah, because there's moments where it's like you are the only one on stage and you're the only one that they're looking at.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh my God, you're right. So I was in there and I was like, okay, so what if I go like this and then I go like this and I cut this off and I do this here?
Yeah.
And he was
I thought it was so cute.
Okay. And I fixed that. I tried to fix my back pose, but it wasn't enough time for me to fix it and for me to adjust it. I would need to like get with my posing coach. So it was still not correct the second time around.
I think when I was watching it, because you had told me that that's a correction you were making, I was like hyper focused on it. And when you're alone, it doesn't look like you're too wide or anything crazy, but it's just because if everyone else is standing close, if you're the wide one, you notice it's a wider
so like
stance.
When he showed me the photo of like all of us and he paused it, then I can see that I'm too wide.
Yeah.
But when I was alone, I was like, I don't think I'm too wide.
Yeah, I loved it in your individual.
Yes. So I was like, ugh. But that's something that we're going to work on like this time around. So we go back to finals. Everything goes really quickly. We get to see all the girls again. And, you know, they have us do a confirmation round. So they have you come back and confirm the placing and stuff. They might move you around a little bit. And then I placed fifth, which is awesome.
Congratulations.
Yeah, it was so cool to like go from being second at the end of second call outs 2 years ago and then to be top 5 for this one and look way better.
And this was a much more competitive show. Like you were saying, it's the last one before the Olympia.
There was even more girls this time. Last time there was maybe like 15 wellness girls and I was 8th, I believe. So I was like, oh my God, that's amazing. And then I even yesterday was looking, I accidentally clicked on my show day video from Puerto Rico and I looked at my physique and was like, oh my God.
It's crazy.
I was like, I look way better now than I did then. I was like, that's nuts.
It's crazy because every time you compete or do a prep or whatever, you're like, this is the best I've ever looked.
Yes.
And like somehow that's true every single time where it like just keeps getting better, which is so
and
cool.
I remember like, of course, even like show day being like, I don't look like you have moments where you're like, I don't look good.
Yeah.
I don't look good.
Everyone,
like I'm not lean enough or whatever. And then I even like put side by side my stage footage from Puerto Rico and my stage footage from the Heart of Texan was like, oh my God, way better. I was like, I may even look more muscular. Look like, and obviously, like, I think the biggest change was the posing. Oh my God. I was watching my posing from Puerto Rico and I was like, you look awful.
Which so not true, but I get it.
But just with how long I worked on it since then, I was like, wow, it's huge difference in how your physique looks on stage.
When I look back at my old like stage shots and stage videos and just like even videos I took alone in my house, like you could tell how uncomfortable I was. And I don't want to make it about me today. Today's only about you. But I was posing for the first time in a long time with heels like yesterday, just trying to get my stuff down. And I was like, wow, to step on stage confident, crazy.
What would this be like?
Yeah, I was like, wow, I can actually like have fun with a posing routine and not feel like a robot being like front pose, side pose.
Hi.
It's like, it's fun being fluid and having movement and stuff. And I feel like that's why, again, we can talk now about the polarity of your posing routine for some reason. I find it beautiful that you are so fluid and able to move pose to pose and it looks effortless, which I think is the goal. You don't want to look like you're straining and struggling up there.
Yeah. So there was a lot of people that really, really loved it. And then like, I even got texts from people that were like, I love your posing routine. Like people that know me personally. And then there's also people that like didn't like it. Some people were saying that it was too sexual, that I was moving too much, that I looked like I was doing WBFF posing, that I didn't do enough of my mandatories, which you don't have to. It's your routine. You can do whatever mandatories you want to do.
Mandatories are for comparisons.
So I got feedback from a judge that was there, that lives like in Texas. And she was the first person I ever posed with. And I got feedback from her and she gave me some feedback on like, she was like, I loved it. I loved your posing routine. She's like, I've seen people do way more than you, like where more of the flair and the stuff. She's like, but at the end of the day, you still have to do what the judges want you to do. And it's like, you have to keep your personality, but you also have to adjust it to where it fits the judges' criteria so that they pick you. That's what you're doing. That's the name of the game.
Yeah.
So obviously I'm going to fix that back pose and I'm still going to keep the majority of my routine the same. I'm just going to take out some things that don't highlight my physique in the way that I wanted them to, and a little bit less of the hand movements.
Got it.
Because that was the feedback that I got from her, where she was like, just a little bit less of that. And I think that you would be fine.
But I get it.
Yes. I think that's where people were like, this is WBFF, because there was so many hand movements and stuff. So I already have a posing session set up for next week with my coach, and we're literally going to go over it like it's film for like football, where we're going to watch it and we're going to pause it and play it and we're going to fix it, and adjust it and take things out. And then I have a posing session my peak week of my next show with Sheila, and I'm going to show her what we came up with so that it'll be ready for the next show.
She's an NPC judge?
I believe so.
Okay, yes. That's what I thought.
Yeah, she was one of the first people that I ever posed with when I started. And it's just crazy because I remember posing with her way back then, and it's just so different now. So
that's crazy.
I'm really excited to do that.
Do you want to talk about what you did to celebrate?
What?
The burgie.
Oh, yeah. I got a burger. We went to Hop Dottie because it was just like, sometimes you get out of the show so late and it was just so chill. And
everything
I'm glad that
was like a 5-mile radius, which was nice.
Yeah. We went to Hop Dottie and I got a burger and fries and got some ice cream. Oh, it was the best thing ever. I was definitely like bloaty afterwards,
Literally, she goes, guys, look, and lifts up her shirt, abs. I was like, what are you showing us?
It was like extended tummy, but you can still see the abs. So it was funny. I felt like I had a power lifter belly. You know how sometimes power lifters, it's like extended but they still have like the abs. That's what I felt like.
I get it.
But everything is going back to normal. Like already I've been back on my like meal plan, back on my cardio and everything, because we're going to do another show at the end of the month. So
I didn't know if you were going to talk about next goal. Okay. Yeah, are you saying what show or no?
Probably not.
Okay.
Not yet.
Okay.
Because I like keeping it under.
Yeah.
It worked for me this last time. I was just like, hey, by the way, this is a show I'm doing, and
Surprise
announcing it last minute. I know.
Yeah.
But everything went. So I'm very, very happy with how everything went. But this week has been rough physically and emotionally because it was such like a high, and then coming back and like crashing just because I have to get back to doing everything
I woke
normally.
up Monday morning and saw you like on cardio, and I was like, the fact that this girl is not asleep is insane.
Yeah, I think Monday I was like, I can do this. It's fine. I'm gonna be right back where I was, and I'm not gonna crash. You know, when you think you're like not gonna get jet lag or something, but you get jet lag anyways. It was like that. Yeah. And then midday Monday, I was like, oh my God, I was literally like in the fetal position, laying on the stairs.
Julia.
And my head was on the stair like a pillow because I was so tired, and my body was starting to set in, because what I think really pushed my body over the edge was the confirmation round of finals where they went and we stood back there waiting.
Oh, for forever.
Waiting for rounds and rounds of call outs, and I was in pose the whole time, and I kept switching to my left hip, to my right. That killed me. It utterly killed me. So yesterday it set in, and I was like, oh my God, my back was hurting. I was like, I wanted to cry, but I couldn't. I was like, I don't know if I can do this. I don't know if I can go any longer. I was telling Zach, I was like, you can. I don't know if I could do this. I was like, I want to do this so bad. Don't get me wrong. Like, and I don't want people to think that I'm not proud, because I'm very, very proud. Like, nothing about that I'm upset about, and I'm really excited. But
I think it's super normal to have.
I don't know if I can do this. I'm so tired. Yeah. Because like I said, going from like that high and then getting a taste of what it's like to like eat foods that you want, and then going right back down to like the cardio, the training. It's such a big swing that I was expecting to just like coast this week and be like, no, I could just pick up where I left off. No.
Yeah. It's so hard. I do think it's easier because you have a show in mind to at least have that like, okay, here's the next goal. Because we've talked many times about what like post-show blues feel like when you have nothing. I feel like
I have like slight post-show blues.
Yeah, which is normal.
Like, I'm like sad now. Aww. You know, even though I have another show coming up, but I'm like, but it's over. I was like I wish I can go back. Like, and now I want to go back and like be able to like do everything all over again. Like hang out with you guys in the Airbnb and like go to dinner with y'all again and like be on stage again. And even though all of it was beautiful and exhausting, but I wouldn't trade it for anything. It's like, I'm sad. Aww. I'm like sad.
I feel like that's the coolest part, that you document everything. Yes. It's like at least you can go back and like relive it on YouTube over and over.
True. And we have, speaking of YouTube, guys, I'm posting 3 times a week.
You're crazy.
On YouTube for this entire month of all of the show stuff. So actually, by this time this episode comes out, in a couple of hours, my show day video will be coming out. So make sure, and we're going to do it like as a live premiere. So that's all I got, really. I'm leaving now. I've been home for Sunday, Monday, 3 days, and I'm leaving now to go to Houston for fall shredding.
That too, you're like, I'm so fatigued. I also have this and this and this and this. I said it in my solo episode. I was like, it's not even the fact of like, I feel like first off, just like watching your prep secondhand and just like kind of being here, kind of like a whatever you need. This was like your best energy and attitude and like excitement going into any show I've ever seen. Usually just like even myself, I know I am defeated those last few weeks, and you have been nothing but like excited and still doing stuff, but also saying yes to so many obligations on top of that, which I know we've talked about, and like maybe cutting down on those a little, but like it's so impressive that you show up for all these other people while doing the sport we always call selfish. So it's really cool. Yeah. You're so inspiring.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'm going to regret all this later. We'll see. We'll see. But I do love, like, I love going to fall shred. Like, I don't care if it makes me more tired going to that, because like getting to go and see all those competitors, because that was the first show I ever did, which got me to here right now. Yeah. It's seeing them being so proud and excited and get to showcase what they've made is awesome. It's all worth it. It doesn't matter to me if I end up tired, because I still have to be on prep while doing this stuff. But
you're crazy.
I am pumped. I feel like that what's really making me feel like I have like post-show blues is that this is the first last week of the beginning of peak week last week, and then the beginning of this week, I have felt like a little less motivated, like super fatigued, not as like super happy and like excited. And since the majority of my prep, I have been in such a high mood. I think now that I'm like feeling the prep things and I'm like, wait, but why? You know what I mean? Happened? So I'm like, but I was supposed to be happy the whole time. And now I'm sad.
But it's normal.
Yeah. So I think that.
Yeah.
And I have so much to look forward to regardless of the show at the end of the month too, but I can't wait.
I'm excited.
To do it all over again.
And again and again.
I'll keep y'all posted. So make sure you subscribe to this if you're listening on YouTube, the Instagrams, the YouTube, my personal YouTube, Kendall's YouTube. It's all down in the description of all the things. So you'll be there along the way. And I love you all so much. And you're more powerful than you think.
Bye.